this is Ariel LS. Today I will be doing a review of the Touch 5 markers. So right here I'm showing you a marker. Yes, it's upside down. Apparently I don't know how to hold a marker. But this is one of the colors. I'd say this is close to being a mid-tone. This is what it looks like. I would say it's kind of similar to a Copic. This does not have a brush tip. There are Touch 5 markers with the brush tip, but these do not have that. It has a fine tip and a broad tip. And yeah, I guess that's all I say. Now, comparing this to the Prismacolor, I'd say they're about the same size, but if you have a Copic, which you can see me with my finger showing you how wide it is, that's about how wide a Copic is compared to this marker. So it is fairly small. However, even with that being the case, I would say that this is still a better value than Copic by a lot. Even with Copic being twice the size of this, you are paying roughly for a set of 80, you're paying maybe a little under 50. So a little over 50 cents per marker. So even with two markers, that would be the equivalent of ink of a Copic, you're only paying $1. And a Copic is roughly $8, as I'm sure most of you know. Here are some other colors. We have this lighter color I showed you. It's like a pale blue. And now right here I'm showing you this black. And yeah, it's very nice. These markers I really, really love. Now, I bought these. These are the Oleeps ones. And this might confuse you, okay? Like, Touch 5 has different types of markers, but they're all the same at the same time. It's really, really confusing. The only differences I seem to notice is that some are black, which means they have the brush tip. Some are white, which means they don't have the brush tip, and I think there also is a more expensive brand, but I don't believe it's called Touch 5. I think it has a different name. I think maybe it's just Touch Marker. I'm not fully sure. Don't quote me on that. But yes, Oleeps sells them, and Oleeps sells them at, again, a very cheap price, especially for the quality of these markers. So one thing about some people have said, the caps don't go on very tight. Well, I can say these caps do go on tight. As a matter of fact, I think they're harder to get off than Copic caps, believe it or not. So I would say that with that, that's more of a myth than anything. Okay, so I'm about ready to lay down a color now. Let's see what color. Here I am. I'm starting with a really light purple, and this will say light blue. That's one thing about these. The cap will say one color. This says, I think, light blue. And it's purple. It's light purple. It's a liar. So one thing about these is that you will need kind of swatches. And I'll have another review that kind of goes into what the colors actually look like. I'll be posting that later to show you that. But in this one, I really want to show you how they work more than anything else. I really want you to see how the marker actually works and its blending qualities, and I will be explaining the differences. Right now I'm showing you my two OCs, and one of the things I want to explain is how it works on normal paper compared to paper that's better for it. So that's how they were drawn, and one thing I noticed when I first did it on that paper is that the colors looked darker at first. They looked so dark, and then the next thing you knew, they were so light drying. It's really hard to tell the difference, and the skin tones, when they were all blended together, blended a little too well. They actually look like the same tone, so that was not very promising. So that's one thing to notice about that. And yeah, it's kind of a problem. And also, like, it has that feathering when you have it on normal paper. You really need good paper for this. A lot of people have said that it bleeds a lot. I'm not fully sure. It did bleed on the paper, the normal paper, a good bit, but I had something under it, so I guess it didn't affect me as much. It was mostly just the feathering, which I guess could also count as bleed, maybe. So right now I'm showing you some of the blending. And right now I have a different color marker on there, as you can see. And I would say that these do blend very good. And by the way, in this I will not be blending with an actual blender. And also these markers do not come with a blender. So if you think you're going to have a blender with these markers, you're in for a surprise pretty much. If you want a blender, they do work very well with other blenders. I personally use a Prismacolor marker blender. And I believe I'll be getting a normal Copic blender from my friend. Right now I'm putting yellow on the top because yellow is a really nice highlight. It really makes an image pop. It's really nice to add some colors, and I have to say, with the Prismacolors, those markers, they really don't blend that great. I kind of hate how they blend. But with this, I really enjoy adding colors on top, and it works. And if you've seen any of my drawing videos, especially me drawing in my style, a lot of times I will add a lot of colors. You can go look at my written drawing from Shelter. That's an example of how many colors I will sometimes use in drawing, and sometimes I use even more than that. So you can see I really, really love adding color on top, and that's one thing that's really nice about these markers. Right now I'm going in with the darker blue, and I'm leaving some space to shade. Usually you go in with colors light to dark, but I noticed that you want to blend with a light color, so I just go dark and then I blend with the light color because I'm not using a blender for this. And yeah, it really does look nice. I can't stress enough how nice these markers are for their value. If you have a young artist who may be interested in trying out markers but doesn't really have a lot of money to spend on them or to invest in them, I highly, highly recommend these. Even for myself, as maybe a little bit more experience, maybe with more money, I don't think I want Copics after using these, to be honest. Like, they're so nice. I can't stress it. By the way, the paper that I'm using, this is something that might be good to know because these work really, really great on this paper, I think. It's actually not paper, it's an illustration board. And I believe it's by the brand Crescent. I saw this in my Michaels, but I actually get it from the vocational school I go to. I believe you can order online in large quantities. So right now I'm going into reds to show you kind of contrast. I want to show you how all the colors work, the light colors to the darker colors. I really want you to see how good these blend, and so that your questions, sorry, I'm stuttering, will be answered. Yeah, so I think this is kind of like, I don't want to say fuchsia per se, but it's a pretty dark violet. So this is one of those colors that definitely looks like a contrast to the green. And right now I'm adding in an orange pink. Gosh, I can't speak. Over top of this. And as you can see, it does blend pretty well even without the blender. Now you will notice you can see where it goes into the purple if you look close enough. A lot of artists may hate that. For me, I actually think I could live without the blender. I actually could live with that showing the purple, like where it comes in. But with the blender, it really does work nicely. I have used the blender with these markers, and I don't regret it. Really, if you have enough knowledge on how to use markers, if you learn how to use markers with these, I think these will definitely be satisfying to you. So now I'm adding on a darker color. And you'll see me adding it on with the blue now. But I will also be adding it on over the purple, I believe, as well. And it does blend pretty well even with that. Yeah, I just can't stop saying how much I love these markers. These are so great. I don't know. A lot of people, I've heard some people saying that they don't like them as much, and then some people saying that they're pretty good for the price. For me, I think they're just as enjoyable as Copics. So right now I'm adding on a color that is completely contrasting to the color under it. It's not really close in its color scheme, and as you know, with color theory, and especially if you've ever used Copics, Copics have made it their color families because certain colors just blend together better. And this is just not one of those colors that's going to blend very nicely with this light purple. Because as you can see, it's a yellowish green. Which I actually believe it says it's yellow, which is another cap lie. So now I'm trying to blend it over with the purple, and it actually did blend decently. And you know, you might say, well, that didn't blend too good, but to be honest, I don't think even with a Copic it would have blended that great. It's just too contrasting of a color, if we're all honest here. Yeah, so about the purchase of these, I bought these on Amazon. I think I've already mentioned that. And they came pretty quickly, and they came in good shape. The package was nice and everything. So yes, this is the finished fish, and I think it looks good.